Welcome to Stories Over Coffee. One cup of coffee and one story. Sometimes life doesn't teach us in lectures or through dramatic upheavals. Sometimes it whispers in the silence of a rainy afternoon inside a corner cafe. Today's reflection is titled, A Personal Perspective, What I Learned from Rainy Afternoons at My Usual Café. Because there are moments, small, passing, and quiet, that stay with you far longer than you expect. There's a small cafe nestled at the end of a quiet street I've walked for years. It doesn't try to catch your eye, no neon signs, no playlists screaming for attention. Just the scent of roasted beans, the creak of old chairs, and a window wide enough to frame the weather like a painting. On rainy days, I find myself drifting there. Not out of habit, not even for the coffee, but for something softer, something slower. A place where time somehow forgets to hurry. From these rainy afternoons, I've learned many things. First, how to stop running. The world outside moves fast, but when rain begins to fall, even the rushers pause. And so I do too. No buzzing phone, no errands, no pretending to be productive. Just me, a chair, a cup that warms both hands, and the gentle punctuation of raindrops, like commas in a too long sentence. A reminder, you don't have to race to be alive. Second, I learned how to watch, not with judgment, just with presence. A mother coaxing her child out of wet shoes. A man silently staring out, maybe waiting for someone, maybe waiting for something inside himself. And me, not intruding, just witnessing. It taught me empathy, not through words, but through stillness. Because when you stop long enough to observe truly, you realize everyone is carrying something invisible. And rain, strangely, makes it visible. Third, I learned how to hear my own voice again. There's a kind of silence only the rain brings, not empty, but intimate. In that silence, I met versions of myself I had forgotten. Old dreams, old wounds, regrets that used to ache, gratitude I never said aloud. I sat with them, didn't try to fix or rush them away, and in doing so, I began to forgive others and myself. Fourth, I discovered the beauty of small constants. In a world that shifts, stretches, and spins wildly, there is quiet power in something that stays. This cafe, it never asked questions. It didn't care if I was happy, lost, successful, or broken. It just opened its door every time and offered a seat, a view, and a cup that never ran cold too quickly. We all need places like that. Not to escape the world, but to return to ourselves. And finally this. Life's most important lessons often arrive quietly. Not in the clamor of events, but in the quiet seconds in between. In the ordinary. In the forgotten moments. A rainy afternoon, a window, a sip of coffee that calms more than it energizes. If you've ever found shelter in a familiar cafe, if you've ever let the rain speak on your behalf while the world outside waited for you to return, then you know, peace doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it simply pours. Thank you for joining me here in this small, sacred moment of reflection. Don't forget to subscribe to Stories Over Coffee. One cup of coffee and one story. I'll be here again, on another quiet day, in another corner of time, waiting perhaps for the next rainfall.